All right. Are we rolling? Yes. All right. All right, guys. There's a lot of things happening in the news today. One thing I want to talk about is that the Democratic Party coming out with some really stupid idea in the past, and they continue to come up with stupid idea in the present. And I'm sure the Democrat Party will come up with more stupid idea in the future. The one that got my nerve is this idea of, I think, Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris champion try to give black people reparation, right? First of all, these people or modern black people never lived through slavery, through Jim Crow. I mean, sure, there's people who's like 150 years old or something like that. They might be existing, but the majority of them never been through this kind of experience. So why are we trying to buy their votes, or the Democrats, I should say, buy their votes by giving them reparation, right? And isn't the Democratic want to be the party of inclusive? So how's it inclusive if you just give black people reparation and dismiss all the other injustice other races went through? The Japanese internment camps, the Indian Trail of Tears, and all I could name among other things, right? So why is it only the black people getting reparation? I mean, they hadn't fully explained the idea of reparation. I mean, is all minority class getting reparation? Is Irish people getting reparation? Because Irish was enslaved too. Sure, it wasn't the same kind of slavery, but they were enslaved, and and among other things, right? But why reparation? That's what I want to ask. Reparation. I I don't know. Back when I first heard the word reparation, I'm not sure if anybody shared the same kind of experience I did. But first time I heard reparation was during the Chappelle show back in the early 2000s when it was talking about it. But suddenly, why wasn't reparation a hot topic in the 80s, 90s, 2000s? Why wasn't this discussed? Why wasn't it popular back then? All of a sudden, it's popular right now. Why is the issue so prominent among liberal politicians? Suddenly they want to give black people reparation, and I hope the black community sees this for what it is. I mean, I hope they're smart enough to see that the Democrat people try to buy them as every other thing, like the Obama administration. That's basically Obama just bought their votes, and he didn't do nothing for them within 8 years of his term, right? He did more for gays and illegal aliens than he did for black people. Why don't they understand it? It's like this thick heart shell in their mind, their skulls, like it's not getting through them. Like Obama did not did anything for you guys for the past 8 years, right? Sure, he visited some inmates, right? He he pardoned a few inmates, but that's only a few. What if inmates was his priority? Why don't he reform the justice system, the criminal system, right? I mean, that's a weak argument to say that he pardoned some inmates. All right, he pardoned some inmate. Why don't he just reform the criminal system? Is this the Democratic people is falling apart? This party right now, they want to give reparation, and then they want to comes up with the Green New Deal, right? The Green New Deal championed by AOC. At first, it was championed by Jill Stein in the 2016 presidential race, right? Why didn't they champion back then? Jill Stein came up with the idea. Why wasn't it popular back then? All of a sudden, when AOC came up with it, now is a big deal. And plus, this idea of carbon emission. Last time I checked, I seen this in a study or some article somewhere that it said the ocean emit more CO2 than we do, than cars. The ocean, right? The ocean emit more CO2. And how many oceans is there? There's a Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Arctic Ocean, right? And you know how big ocean is? Of course they're going to emit more CO2. Why they ain't stopping it? Because they can't stop it because it's natural occurrences, right? The CO2 is emitted by planktons. Planktons emit CO2s. They inhale oxygen, and the planktons are a type of plant. Zooplankton. They're animals too. They emit CO2s. So why don't the Democrat complain about planktons, the ocean emitting CO2s, right? And then they want to focus on cars and jet engines. Like, didn't you ride jet planes on your way to encourage this Green New Deal. And where's Jill Stein? How come she's not saying anything about this? She's the one that came up with the Green New Deal in the beginning, right? Jill Stein, the Green Party. Why wasn't she acknowledged? She's the came up with the Green New Deal first, and so the AOC hijacked the concept, right? And it brings me to another point that this week, I think this week, within some other week, Bernie Sanders coming in the race again. Oh my God! It's at first when he came out during the 2016, yeah, it was a new idea, fresh idea, right? I'm not talking about he's any spring chicken himself, but is his idea was original, right? That's why everybody gathered around him. But now all the Democratic Party adopting his idea. So how original is he? And he's saying he's going in with the same kind of agenda as well. Like, okay, what if you go with the same agenda and most of your rivals are adopting your agendas? So what make you stand out among the rest? You're just the same old politician. You're not any different. There's nothing original about it anymore because everybody's adopting the same crap that you're advocating, right? Medicare for all, free student tuition, and what other BS? Tax the rich. Last time I checked, all the people who's running, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, are doing the same thing as you're doing. So what separates you from the rest? Huh? I mean, we can only wait until the debate comes up. But to be honest, I used to support Bernie Sanders until I see him, until everybody wanted him, because he was rigged in 2016 and Hillary rigged against him, and it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out he was rigged and why didn't he go after Hillary. He could have gone after Hillary, but he didn't do it, and that leave a bitter taste in my mouth, right? Because at that point I dropped all support for him and go with the other guy. But yeah, Bernie lost all credibility. I don't think he can win it. I mean, sure, the polls, but polls are proven to be wrong. I mean, there's no moderate Democrat. I mean, if I was a Democrat, I'd go with somebody else. Maybe that guy, what's his name, the Starbucks owner. If I was a Democrat, or Tulsi Gilbert, whatever her name is, right? But the mainstream right now, they're completely out of touch with society, out of touch with the American people. If anything, the middle American people, right? Millennials and liberals and millennials have a tendency to lack votes. They have a tendency not to show up for votes. So they're going to have this idea, oh, I'm not going to go vote. People are going to vote for me. And look what happened. Trump took office, right? And the conservative, they have a track record of voting every time. They have track records of high turnout, voting all the time, right? So I'm not gonna be threatened by the liberals because they don't got no plans, no leadership, no agendas, no good message for the people at all. All they do is they want to carry out their agendas. Their Agenda 21 to eradicate society, ruin society, break society down, right? They want to break society down, build up back up to a socialistic, utopia. A socialistic utopia where everybody live in pack and stack apartments, being surveillance 24/7, like a police state, right? And don't want people to own homes. That's their idea of utopia, right? Basically, socialism is a Ponzi scheme. It's a pyramid scheme. People from the bottom funded the people on top. So basically it. That's basically it. I mean, the Democratic have lost all credibility. And to make matters worse, this week, Jussie Smollett was arrested because of his non-convincing claim that he was attacked by Trump supporters. It turns out that he was attacked. He hired these. It was well orchestrated by two of his people who work in his show Empire. He hired his two Nigerian guys to help him create this hoax of him being attacked by Trump supporters. And I knew it from the beginning. His story doesn't make sense. It's inconsistency everywhere. There's holes everywhere. His story changes. He wasn't cooperative at first. Some person isn't lying or not telling the truth when they're not cooperative with law enforcement, right? When they're not cooperative with law enforcement, they got something to hide, All right. So why else wouldn't you cooperate if it's not if it's legitimate? You know, and the question, how is the truth? Is it true? You know, truth could be mislead. People could lie. All right. People have the ability to lie. What you suddenly you don't have the ability to lie yourself? Okay. Uh, but anyway, my dog's biting on me. I'm sitting in my my studio, and the dog's on my feet try to play with me right now. So that's why I'm all shaking. But yeah, back to my point is that the Democrat lost all points in credibility. All right, and I'm just done. They're not fighting for anybody's right. They're fighting for their own interests. Their own interests. They're the aristocrat, Democratic with three Ks, the party of the KKK. That's what it is. They hijacked it. The KKK hijacked the Democratic Party, and the minorities who's in the Democratic Party, they're playing for suckers. They don't see it. They don't understand that BS. Just because Lyndon Johnson gave them the civil rights, that doesn't mean you have to still have to change party. It's just stupid. They can't think for themselves. They're sheep. And if YouTube see this, my channel's already demonetized. So why do I care? They don't monetize my thing. They won't monetize it now. They will never monetize myself. Right now, I'm free to say whatever I want to say because I'm not funded by anything. I'm not funded by anyone. You know, I'm not funded by anyone. I'm just an independent person who just like to make podcasts on YouTube, make a show, and at that and on that note, yeah, that's all I gotta say about what's going on in the week. Democrats have lost all credibility, especially Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett basically ruined it for black people and cost black people any credibility in the future. I'm not saying all black people. I mean, there are some of them who are fighting the good cause and who are awakened, but the majority of them here, they're still sleeping. They're sedated by narcotics and drugs, and they're not waking up. They just rather sleep the whole time, and they're not noticing that they're being killed slowly by the Democratic Party. And on that note, I'll talk to you guys later.